Warwick. The event is co-organized with DISACT project of Dr. Iosif Kovras at the University of Cyprus with the support of Emel Akçalı at King's College. I would like to three universities, University of Cyprus, King's College, and my home university, University of Warwick, for all the organization they have put to make this possible. Our two speakers who traveled from Cyprus, Iosif Partasides, who have seen his photos before, for helping us with all the organization, making the phone calls and bringing the people together. I had the pleasure to work with a lot of people throughout my life, 20-year-olds, 30 years old, 40 years old. Those show more energy than anybody else. Thank you so much, Doro, for sharing your thoughts. All the background work for this to become possible. I would also like to take a minute, if nobody has an objection. There has been a very difficult year for a lot of people in conflict zones, for a lot of people in Cyprus as well, for our missing, but also to honor and remember the people in Turkey, the 76 people who died in Bosnia. So if we can take a minute of silence before we start, that would be much appreciated. Thank you very much. Iosif.
Thank you, Neophytos. So my name is Iosif Kovras. I'm an associate professor at the University of Cyprus, and I'm also the principal investigator of the ERC-funded DISACT project. And we are co-hosting this event with Neo and Neo's project. In our project, we are trying to reconstruct the logic of the crime of disappearances. So as you can imagine, for all the wrong reasons, there is an overlap with what we are discussing today. Earlier, we had another event, and I have to say that I really enjoyed the discussion with all the participants. And I'm very glad to hear that this idea about the potential for Truth Commission is gaining momentum, both at the operational level, but also at the political level. So also many thanks to Doros, Achilleas, Meltem, and everybody involved for making this happen. I'm really grateful to you. So without further ado, Meltem, the floor is yours. Sorry, sorry, yes.
I'm a senior lecturer in defense studies at King's College London. So it is a great honor to host my compatriots from both sides of the divide, from Cyprus here, to talk about this fascinating topic, which is going to be for the first time discussed in public among Turkish Cypriots, Greek Cypriots, from people from Turkey, Greece, and maybe we are also going to construct a working group to talk about it more. So this is an exciting day for that. So we have two fascinating speakers, Meltem Onurkan-Samani and Achilleas Demetriades, who I know, well, I met Meltem, but I know of her since many years. And Achilleas, I met you 20 years ago when I was a PhD student in Cyprus. It's been a long time. So, Dr. Meltem Onurkan-Samani is the founder of General Coordinator of the Cyprus Peace and Dialogue Center in Cyprus. She holds a PhD in history. She specializes in the socio-political history of Cyprus and the critical role of history education in conflict resolution and peace building. With over 20 years of academic experience, she has taught history and politics at various universities. As a former special advisor to the Turkish Cypriot leader, President Mustafa Akıncı, between 2015 and 2020, Dr. Onurkan-Samani played a central role in coordinating UN-led bicommunal technical committees and supporting the working groups of the negotiation process. She was also the founding co-chair of the Bicommunal Technical Committee on Education. Between 2004 and 2009, she co-authored revised history textbooks for the Turkish Cypriot community, which garnered international recognition. Since 2003, following the opening of the crossing points in Cyprus, she has actively collaborated with Greek Cypriot educators through the Association for Historical Dialogue and Research. She contributed to AHDR supplementary educational materials designed for use by both Cypriot communities. Dr. Onurkan-Samani was instrumental in establishing the Home for Cooperation in the buffer zone in 2011, which is a fantastic center, and an initiative spearheaded by the AHDR. She also served as co-chair of both AHDR and H4C during her tenure. In addition to her work in education and bicommunal cooperation, she is a member of the Greek Cypriot Forum and the founding coordinator of the Cyprus Women Bicommunal Coalition. Dr. Onurkan-Samani is also a researcher at the University of Cyprus. Sorry, sirs. Shall I give this? I will go here.
Oh, yes. So we might want
to put it up. System up, system.
Yeah, that's perfect, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Esteemed participants, dear Cypriots, friends, and colleagues, thank you for being here today. Your presence reflects the deep interest and hope for dialogue on one of the most sensitive and challenging issues in our shared history. I extend my gratitude to the organizers, Neophytos, Doros, and everybody for inviting me to speak alongside dear Achilleas Demetriades. It's a profound honor to address this distinguished audience alongside with Achilleas. Of our discussion today is difficult, sensitive, and at times controversial, yet it is one we must face with courage and sincerity. Without confronting these challenging issues, we cannot hope to achieve true reconciliation and peaceful coexistence. Addressing this topic requires careful thought, as timing and methodology are crucial. We must understand the hesitations, however, reservations, and reluctance to engage with such a deeply politicized and painful matter. As a historian and peace educator, but more as a Cypriot, this topic resonates deeply with me, evoking not only professional reflection, but also personal memories and emotions. In Cyprus, our histories are often passed down not just through education, particularly history textbooks or media, or family stories, but through the very fabric of our being. They linger in our collective memory and even, as some scientific studies suggest, within our DNA or genetics. I want to begin with a story, a true story that is both deeply personal and profoundly illustrative of why we are here today. It's the story of my father, not history of Cyprus. It's story of my father, just to add facts to the whole. In 1974, I was just 5, too young to fully understand the tumult around me, but old enough to carry those memories for a lifetime. Yet, my father's story begins much earlier. In 1964, during another period of turmoil in Cyprus, he was only 18, living in Polis Paphos, when two Turkish Cypriot figures, the then elected representative Cengiz Ratip and then newly appointed school teacher Turgut Sıtkı, disappeared. They were trapped and taken, never to be found again, along with their car. Their disappearance sparked a wave of fear and retaliation. Random captures from the streets ensued for all Cypriots, not only Turkish Cypriots. My father was one of those randomly taken off the street, along with others, including some relatives. He was loaded into a car and taken to Nicosia, where they were imprisoned. One day, the then Minister of Interior, Poligarpos Georgakis, came to visit the prisoners and questioned them. He questioned each one, asking where they were taken from, etc. And after all, as he turned to leave, one brave soul, the father of a friend named Kubilay Özkıraç, addressed him directly. Giriye Yorgaci, Mr. Yorgakis, if you are going to kill us manly. Do it like a man, not for starvation. Don't let us starve. Why don't you give us proper food to eat? Is this what Cypriots do to one another? If you came to our village, would we treat you this way, etc.? You know, the Cypriot style. Mr. Yorgakis stopped, turned back, and asked each prisoner what they had been given to eat. The answer was the same: a quarter piece of dry bread with a few olives 3 times a day. That night, for the first time, they were given proper food. My father remembers a large fish. I wonder if it was large or after the starvation, it was like very big. A large fish, potatoes, and salad. Days later, my father and the others were exchanged for, if I'm not mistaken, 7 or 8 Greek Cypriot policemen captured by Turkish Cypriots, I don't know. So after 42 harrowing days for the family, my father was lucky enough to return to home, not to home, to his ghetto. Because of the safety reasons, they were gathered in the secondary school of Poli, all Turkish Cypriots living in Poli. So he returned to ghetto, was a home. But many others, like Cengiz and Turgut, never did. Still their bodies are missing. If my father hadn't made it back, I would not be standing here before you today. His survival shaped my life, but of those who never returned weighed heavily on our collective conscience. After the 1974 war, most of the Turkish Cypriots living around Paphos and Polis, including myself, were displaced to Morphu, where I attended a secondary school renamed Şehit Turgut, Martyr Turgut Lower Secondary School, where I was graduated. Years later, in 2023, I had the opportunity to share this story with Katie Cleridis, who encouraged me to relay it to Konstantinos Yorgagis, the son of Polygarbos Yorgagis, then mayor of Nicosia. When I shared this story with him, he listened intently, his expression reflecting a mix of curiosity and anxiety as he awaited the conclusion. After hearing the story without interruption, his reaction was to express a desire to meet my father. I arranged a meeting at my organization's office, Cyprus Peace and Dialogues. When I met my father and my mother about the meeting, but eager to participate. But they were like, "Are you serious? Katie Cleridis, Glafkos Cleridis' daughter, and Yorgagis' son, Konstantinos, would like to meet us." And I said, "Yes, they would like to meet you, both of you." And present at the gathering were my parents, myself, Katie, Konstantinos, and the youngest among us, Ibrahim Bulut, a CPDC team member, my organization team member. During the conversation, Ibrahim Bulut mentioned that his grandfather, Fahri Hüdaoğlu, who was a police officer at the time in Poli, had once shared details about how Cengiz and Turgut were trapped. He recounted that a rumor had been spread claiming that Greek and against the advice of others, Cengiz and Turgut decided to go and check, to investigate the situation themselves. They went and never returned back. The meeting was sincere, cordial, and deeply emotional. It was like a mini truth commission with stories. It wasn't a moment of blame, but one of connection, understanding, and recognition of shared pain. This matter. Stories are not just fragments of the past, they remind us of our shared humanity and the potential for reconciliation. They teach us that the wounds of history cannot be healed by silence or vengeance, but through truth, understanding, and dialogue. Before the generations who remember and know things should be given safe space, stories, and this would help to find the burial places and truth about what happened. Here I would like to thank Sevgili Uludağ, who has been doing great job of collecting the stories and help finding the burials of the missings. This brings us to the idea of a Truth and Reconciliation Committee for Cyprus. Such a committee would not aim to assign blame or seek retribution. Instead, its purpose would be to uncover the truth, foster mutual understanding, and pave the way for amnesty and reconciliation. The goal is not to dwell on the past, but to create a foundation for a peaceful coexistence and a shared future. We know this is not an easy task, do you think? Timing and methodology are critical. Addressing the pain and trauma of our past requires sensitivity, inclusivity, and genuine commitment to justice and healing. But we also know that without such efforts, the ghosts of our history will continue to haunt us, hindering our ability to move forward as a united society. The stories we tell and the truths we uncover have the power to bring us closer together. They can break the cycle of silence and suspicion, replacing it with empathy and understanding. Can a Truth and Reconciliation Committee provide the platform for these stories to be heard and for the healing process to begin? There are serious challenges that we should be aware of and take into consideration, not to stop us, but take into consideration. Let me try to count some of the challenges that need to be addressed. Number one, establishment and success of a truth commission usually require political willingness, consent, and goodwill from the political authorities of both sides or all sides, which is currently lacking in Cyprus. Do we have? I don't think so. Number two, it requires political reconciliation, reaching a politically compromised settlement agreement, or at least a sense of being close to an agreement. Do we have this? We don't even have a common ground for a solution, they say. Number three, trust and confidence in each other are essential. If one side or another thinks that the hidden agenda of their counterparts is to impose legal and political costs and compensations only on one side, or to declare war crimes, such perceptions will undermine the process. Number four, citizen support is crucial. However, this is challenging in a small country like Cyprus, where a considerable number of people are perpetrators themselves or are close to them. Amnesty, or at least the aim to acknowledge and respect the pain of victims and their families, is required. Other aspects, my profession, such as education, including history education, must go hand in hand with these efforts. Do we have this in Cyprus? It's on the contrary. They say that, the political authorities, they find the history textbooks and history education one of the most politically sensitive area. And before a settlement, they don't want to touch, despite the fact we are trying to do this as well. Media support is critical. I don't want to use the time anymore. I want to pass to what can we do. There are things that we can do that keep us hopeful. Number one, we need to work toward reaching a comprehensive settlement through a parallel process. So number one is we need to solve the Cyprus problem, but in a parallel process, I acknowledge that it's not tomorrow. So in a parallel process, I don't exclude supporting a step-by-step approach or a piecemeal approach, I don't know. We need to involve citizens directly in the process, all processes of the Cyprus peace process. This is that I convinced in Crans-Montana. When I was there, I convinced that if we leave it solely to the two leaders, we would not make it. So we need to involve citizens directly in the process. Truth Commission simulations can be tried as an initiative of the civic society. So Cyprus Peace and Dialogue Center, together with Truth Now, together with PEACERETURN, DISACT, and Cyprus, at the Cyprus Peace and Dialogue Center that we initiated after the 2020 elections in the northern Cyprus, we tried such simulations. For example, political reconciliation, bringing together former leaders, negotiators, ministers, party leaders, experts, academics. It worked. What are the results so far? We compiled the convergences. Convergences are the already agreed elements for a comprehensive settlement. It is there, we compiled them. We drafted a joint declaration, Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots. It was not an easy task, but we managed at the end. We started updating and redesigning the process to include new methodologies, including arbitration. So Constantine is here. He has great ideas about it. And we also have the reconciliation through confidence building measures, like we initiated human rights violations, watching and reporting and monitoring human rights violations stemming from the Cyprus problem, because there are many violations. Even the basic rights are violated in both sides because of the Cyprus problem. They normalize it and they say that it's because of Cyprus problem. Sorry for this. Your rights will be kept violated. And so we implemented and we established a mechanism to watch these. And we recently initiated a citizens assembly, CIAP project, that with these assemblies, we can address many issues to involve citizens directly. Now we want to combine the two into one. Citizens should work on convergences, at least to inform about the content of the solutions or the models to discuss together with the citizens, and citizens should contribute to the process design as well. Integrating citizen assemblies with truth commission processes could be the third, providing a robust framework for public participation and reconciliation in Cyprus. Examples from around the world demonstrate the effectiveness of such a hybrid approaches that I propose. I will not enter in detail, but just to mention, in South Africa, while not formally citizen assemblies, community hearings facilitated public participation, enabling victims and perpetrators to share their experiences in a communal setting. In Colombia, Colombia's Truth Commission incorporated territorial dialogues, engaging local communities in truth-telling processes and fostering a sense of ownership and healing. In Canada, public forums involving indigenous communities ensured broader societal engagement, emphasizing grassroots narratives alongside institutional efforts. Bosnia and Herzegovina citizen assemblies, although not tied to a truth commission, these assemblies demonstrated the power of citizen deliberation in addressing post-conflict issues, offering a potential model for Cyprus. These examples show that involving citizens in trust-building measures can lay the groundwork for integrating efforts. The stories we tell and the truths we uncover have the power to bring us closer together. They can break the cycle of silence and suspicion, replacing it with empathy and understanding. A civic truth-telling for reconciliation or a citizen assembly can provide the platform for these stories to be heard and for the healing process to begin. Let us commit to the difficult but necessary work for reconciliation, not just for ourselves, but for future generations. And here we have youngsters, I can see. Most probably they are students studying in London and for so on. Together we can build a Cyprus where stories of pain give way to stories of hope, and where our shared history becomes the foundation for a shared future. Sharing stories allows us to understand and empathize with one another, not to forget the past, but to look toward a future shaped by hope and mutual respect, a future we all deserve and owe to our children. The violence of the past does not reflect the true spirit of Cypriots or the best of humanity. Let me conclude as a historian by saying we cannot unlived history. We cannot just push a button and undo history. It happened. All these are happened. But if we manage to face with the past, we can shape a better future by ensuring we do not repeat its tragic mistakes. Thank you very much from my heart. Thank you.